Warning. The following video contains strong language that some viewers may find offensive or disturbing.
What golden nugget of information do you have to share? If your older parents, grandparents are suddenly acting strange, get them checked for a UTI. In older people, UTIs can cause a psychotic or delusional episode. Control plus Shift plus ESC opens straight to the Task Manager instead of Control plus Alt plus Delete and then manually selecting Task Manager. Horses have a massive blind spot on the front and back of their body. If you are ever around a tame horse, keep a hand on their body while walking around them. This lets it know where you are at all times and decreases chances of kicking out of shock or fear. This also prevents them from kicking you with as much force. You need to stay very close to them for the full benefit. This is similar with goats, as they instinctively fight things coming head-on and should be approached from the sides. Also, ears are the gateway to a horse's feelings. Pinned back ears indicates an anxious or angered horse. Pinned straight up indicates curiosity and focus. If you don't have a toilet plunger, and you've clogged it up, pour in a bit of dish soap and some hot water, the hotter the better. Let stand for 15 minutes. And flush. Learned this when immediately upon arriving at our hotel. My 8-year-old clogged up our toilet and I googled. Found this gem. Realized I'd packed a tiny travel bottle of dish soap. Warmed water up in the microwave and lo and behold, it worked. I still use it sometimes at home when I don't wanna be grossed out by plunging. Yes, my child has a tendency to clog toilets. So there ya go. Even though you have a VPN, it doesn't necessarily keep you hidden if skilled people wanted to find you. There are many things that can leak your IP that you have to isolate and fix, such as IPv6 leaks, DNS leaks, and WebRTC leaks. Also, every add-on you add to your browser, it gives you a unique fingerprint that can lead back to you. You're not as secure as you think. Artillery was responsible for over 70% of combat casualties in both world wars. Airline ops guy here. If you check in a bag at an airport with an hour or less before departure, it has a 50-50 shot of making it on the plane. Just like the TSA line, bag security can back up too. I regularly see 30+ minute in screening statuses on bags. Then, it may be pulled for a hand screening and search. This is random and TSA doesn't care when the flight leaves. So now we are at about 25 minutes to departure and your bag has only just now entered the sort system. It will take another 5 to 10 minutes to sort out to the person who loads carts with bags. Here, the problem is that there may be 7 to 10 other flights coming off of the same conveyor belt. They have to see your bag's tag out of maybe 50 other bags. So let's assume another 5 minutes. Your flight's bag cart was delivered planeside at an hour before departure. It is now 15 minutes to departure. The bag room has seen your bag and has it on the back of a tug racing to the plane. 7 minutes before departure, the baggage compartments are closed and total weights are being submitted. Your bag has missed the airplane. TLDR, please check in more than an hour before your flight if checking a bag, or else it might not make it on the plane. Iron can make your poop color turn black. When looking at renting a car, hotel room, etc., type in your company's name, discount code, vendor in Google, X, Wells Fargo Hertz discount code. You can get better rates on these items usually. The Earth wobbles really slowly like a spinning top. It takes about 26,000 years to come full circle. In the process, the northern star changes. This is called precession. A moose can run 40 miles per hour through 6-foot deep snow. For a garment to be labeled "Made in USA," the process only needs to be started and finished in America. In the case of a certain ladies' underwear line, the material is cut in USA, shipped overseas for assembly, then shipped back to America where a seamstress sews a "Made in USA" tag on the item. Source: underwear factory worker. The concept of 3 square meals a day is a diet designed for people working physical labor in the early 1900s. Quality of diet and sticking to daily calorie limits is the only part that really matters. Otherwise, it really doesn't matter what time you eat. Although the 3 square meals model is indeed advantageous for day-long maintenance of energy levels. Basically, it's better to just eat when you're hungry than force yourself to eat when you should. So long as you're getting the proper nutrients, etc. Armadillos give birth to 4 identical twins always. Yes, just to clarify a little, they bear either 4 or 8 pups. They either have 1 set of identical quads, or 2 sets of identical quads. When Elton John changed his name from Reginald Dwight, he also gave himself a middle name. His full name is Elton Hercules John. A scorpion can hold its breath for 6 days. So don't think drowning it will help you out of your scorpion problem. I can attest to this. When I was a young lad, my father brought a scorpion home from a mission trip as a sort of spooky gift for me. The thing was fully submerged in alcohol and lived for probably 5 or 6 days. It freaked me out so much to think it was watching me while I slept that I threw it away. Jar and all. Fuck scorpions. There are bronze statues of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Splinter at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Donated by their comics co-creator and university alum Peter Laird. That a strong sense of doom is a medically recognized and majority common precursor to having a heart attack. Newly registered nurse working on a hematology ward and learned that stem cells smell like sweet corn. Edit, thank you all for the upvotes. Award and heaps of useful info. Mentioned by a few in the thread. I believe it's the preservative solution that they're kept in that smells and not the actual cells themselves. My colleague also mentioned this when I asked about the smell. But thank you all for a very interesting thread. Speaking of golden nuggets of information to share, goldfish lose their color if they are kept in dim light or are placed in a body of running water, such as a stream. Also, goldfish actually get very large and live for a very long time. But most people don't care for them properly and end up suffocating them in ammonia. The Outerbridge Crossing is a bridge that connects Staten Island, NY to Perth Amboy, NJ. You probably think it was named that because it's the outermost bridge in New York City. Wrong. It's named after Eugenius Harvey Outerbridge. I had a heart transplant 5 years ago. When your heart is replaced, the surgeon has to cut the main nerve that gets the signal from the brain to beat, and/or increase the intensity of the beat. Without this vagus nerve, your new heart has no regulation and pumps blood out of habit. You no longer have a fight or flight response and your new heart beats at 90+ beats a minute. At the beginning of every relationship, agree to assume positive intent. Talk about it often, don't forget about it, and make it the most important rule. Fights will be less. Empathy will be greater and your relationship will be stronger. I told my wife from the very start of our relationship. If I say something that can be taken 2 ways, and one of those ways makes you angry or sad, I meant the other one. Quote. Most people replace their computer or run them into the ground when they get hot and slow. When in reality, new thermal compound and a solid-state drive upgrade can fix both problems and increase its lifespan for about $35 to $50 and isn't incredibly hard to DIY in most cases. I work front desk at a hotel. I've seen this before, so I hope it's new to someone. Don't use sites like Expedia, etc. If you book directly with the hotel, you can always call to make changes. If you need to cancel, you can avoid the 24-hour window fee by changing your reservation to a few days later. Then call back the next day to cancel. Third-party booking sites are not easy to change info. We cannot change the rate if something needs to be fixed. And you are looked down upon and get whatever basic rooms are available. Not by me personally, but everyone around me. The gray rock treatment is an incredibly useful method of dealing with narcissists and toxic people. If such a person is going at you verbally or behaviorally, screaming or posturing or trying to fight, become like a gray rock in a river. No reaction. Don't answer. No movement. Just sit calmly and let the stream of crazy flow past you. Bonus points if you can stare blankly. When people thrive on causing a reaction, they absolutely cannot compute when they get no reaction. If you're in physical danger, obviously react to keep yourself safe, but don't argue. Explain or defend verbally. You'll never change a narcissist's mind. It's just walking on a treadmill. Obviously not foolproof. Keep yourself safe first and foremost. Edit, OMG. Thanks for the awards. I'm very humbled. Edit number 2. So many people have correctly pointed out that with people prone to physical violence, gray rocking can make them angry enough to escalate. Please evaluate your situation and the abusive party and use whatever tools are necessary to protect yourself. Canadians say sorry so much that an act passed in 2009 states that an apology would not be considered admission to guilt. It's 100 times better to break up when you're in a shit relationship than trying to fix it up for the nth time. If you ever have a baseball bat and need to use it as a weapon, put a sock over it so if someone tries to disarm you they just slide off the sock. Each one of the Yamato-class battleship's main gun turrets weighed over 3,000 tons, heavier than the average U.S. destroyer. If you were on a destroyer in the U.S. Navy during World War II, you ran the risk of having to fight a ship whose primary weapons alone displaced more weight than your entire vessel. Peanuts are not nuts. They're legumes and they grow out of the ground like potatoes. Nuts and drupes typically grow on trees and/or are the seeds of fruits. You can be allergic to tree nuts and not be to peanuts and vice versa. There are about 60,000 characters in the Mandarin language. A very literate person will know 20,000. The average person from 5,000 to 10,000. If uneducated, around 3,000. The main reason we stop doing something we love is because we forget our love of doing it for enjoyment's sake and replace it with the desire to be good at it. People often underestimate how big a billion actually is. An easy way to conceptualize it is to think of it in terms of seconds. 1 million seconds ago was 12 days ago. 1 billion seconds ago was 1987. Spiders only bite when they feel cornered and/or harassed in their home. I highly advise against this because it's just dumb, but you could actually handle any spider you see roaming around without getting bit. This goes from the tiny jumping spider to the largest Goliath bird eater. Don't do it. They are itchy. The only exception to this is the Brazilian boner spider. Seasonal allergies are almost entirely man-made ailments. When planting landscaping trees and bushes in the 50s and 60s, people didn't want to use female trees as they didn't want fruit to fall on streets and on people's cars. So they opted for almost entirely male trees, thus drastically increasing the pollen output. Teenagers' ribcages aren't fully formed. If you get a stabbing pain in your lower side, it means the unformed cartilage moved and hit a nerve. If this happens to you, try not to breathe heavily as it irritates it more. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. See you next time.